The waiver wire just got a jolt, and a name that defined the ninth inning at Rogers Center for years is suddenly, unceremoniously available. Jordan Romano has been designated for assignment by the Los Angeles Angels. Forget the nostalgia. Forget the All-Star appearances. The immediate question for Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays front office isn't about a reunion. It's about a cold, hard financial and roster spot calculation. Romano's one-year, $2 million deal, which seemed like a bargain for a proven closer this past offseason, now becomes an albatross. When a player is DFA'd, the other 29 teams have a window to claim him off waivers. If a team, say the Blue Jays, were to place a claim and be awarded him, they would be on the hook for the remainder of that $2 million salary and, critically, would have to immediately place him on their 40-man roster. That means someone else currently on the 40-man gets cut. That is the immediate, unavoidable cost of entry. It's not a free lottery ticket. It's a binding commitment to a player the Angels just decided was no longer worth a roster spot on a team that is currently 5 games under 500. This isn't a case of a team being flush with so much talent they had to make a tough decision. This was a performance-based ejection. His tenure in Anaheim was a catastrophe. We're talking about 8 innings of work resulting in 9 earned runs, a walk rate that has ballooned to an untenable 6.8 BB9. His ERA sits at a ghastly 10.13. The final straw was a complete meltdown against the Royals, where he was pulled mid-inning for an infielder, Adam Frazier, to get the final out. That is the ultimate indignity for a pitcher, especially one with Romano's pedigree. It signals a total loss of faith from the coaching staff and the front office. So, before we even entertain the idea of him wearing a Blue Jays uniform again, we have to dissect what went so fundamentally wrong. This isn't the same pitcher who left Toronto. The metrics tell a terrifying story of decline. During his 2023 All-Star season with the Jays, Romano's four-seam fastball averaged 97.1 miles per hour. It was an elite pitch, generating whiffs and setting up his devastating slider. In his brief stint with the Angels, that velocity has been sitting at 95.2 mph. A 2-mile-per-hour drop on a primary fastball is a 5-alarm fire for a power reliever. It's the difference between a hitter being late and a hitter being on time. And they have been on time. The advanced data is even more damning. His hard hit percentage allowed has skyrocketed, and his FIP, fielding independent pitching, is hovering around 650, which tells us this isn't just bad luck or poor defense behind him. He is fundamentally not pitching well. The command has evaporated. The slider, once a wipeout pitch that dove out of the strike zone, is now spinning in the middle of the plate. He's lost the feel for his best weapon, and without the elite velocity to back it up, he's become a painfully hittable, high-leverage risk. Now, let's pivot to the current reality in John Schneider's bullpen. Is there a desperate need? As of today, Monday, April 27th, the Blue Jays bullpen has been serviceable. It hasn't been a lockdown unit, but it hasn't been the primary reason for losses either. Chad Green has stepped into the closer role and performed admirably, converting saves with a much different, command-over-power approach. Yimi Garcia remains a reliable high-leverage setup man, capable of handling the heart of any lineup in the 8th inning. Eric Swanson is back and rounding into form, and Tim Moza continues to be the go-to lefty specialist. The depth is where the conversation gets interesting. Behind that core group, you have the volatility of Nate Pearson, the consistency of Trevor Richards, and the flexibility of Genesis Cabrera. Is there room for another arm? Absolutely. But is a declining $2 million Jordan Romano the right arm? Claiming him on waivers would mean the Blue Jays believe that Pete Walker can magically fix him in a major league environment, where every outing has consequences for the AL East standings. It would also mean DFAing a player from the current 40-man roster. Who goes? Do you cut a depth piece like a Spencer Horwitz or an Addison Barger, who offer positional flexibility and team control? Do you risk exposing a younger arm on the periphery of the roster to waivers just to take a flyer on Romano? From a pure asset management perspective, a waiver claim makes very little sense. The risk-reward calculation is heavily skewed towards risk. The front office, led by Ross Atkins, is famously methodical. They will not make a move based on sentimentality. The "bring the Canadian boy home" narrative plays well on social media, but it doesn't win baseball games in 2026. They will look at the velocity drop, the command issues, and the salary, and almost certainly pass on a waiver claim. However, this story doesn't necessarily end there. There is a second, far more plausible scenario for a reunion. If Romano goes unclaimed by all 29 other teams, which is highly likely given his performance and salary, he will clear waivers. At that point, the Angels can either release him, eating the remainder of his contract, or try to outright him to the minor leagues. Romano, as a player with more than 3 years of service time, has the right to reject that assignment and become a free agent. This is the point where the Blue Jays might get involved. If Jordan Romano becomes a true free agent, the dynamic shifts entirely. He could then be signed to a minor league contract. This is the low-risk, potentially high-reward move that defines smart front offices. Under this scenario, the Blue Jays would pay him a prorated league minimum salary only if he's called up to the majors. They could send him to the Buffalo Bisons, let him work with the development staff and pitching coordinators there, completely away from the big league spotlight. Imagine a scenario where Romano spends a month in AAA. He's not closing, he's just pitching in low-leverage innings, focusing entirely on mechanics. He works on rediscovering the arm slot for his slider, building back arm strength to regain that lost velocity. There is zero pressure. If he finds his form, you have a potential all-star closer on a league minimum deal ready to reinforce your bullpen for the stretch run. If he doesn't, you've lost nothing but a minor league roster spot in Buffalo. You simply release him, and the experiment is over. This is the only logical path for a reunion. It protects the 40-man roster, it carries virtually no financial risk, and it puts the onus entirely on Romano to prove he's still a major league caliber arm. It respects his past contributions by giving him a chance in a familiar system, but it doesn't compromise the team's present or future based on nostalgia. The fall of a closer is often swift and brutal. For 2 years, Jordan Romano was the heartbeat of this team's bullpen, the electric, emotional anchor. Seeing him designated for assignment by a struggling Angels team is a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of this sport. A waiver claim is a pipe dream, but a minor league contract? Should he become a free agent? That's a conversation worth having in the front office. It's a long shot, but for a pitcher who once meant so much to this city, it might be a long shot worth taking. What do you think? Is the potential reward of a Romano reclamation project worth it, even on a minor league deal? Or should the Blue Jays completely move on and focus on their internal options like Nate Pearson or arms developing in New Hampshire and Buffalo? Let me know your take in the comments below. If you appreciate this kind of deep dive analysis that goes beyond the headlines, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for daily, no-nonsense Blue Jays content that respects your intelligence as a fan. We're here to break down the moves, the metrics, and the money that drive the team.